Welcome to this special episode of Calling After Midnight. I'm your host, Nikki.
And I'm Mari.
And we're here today to talk a little bit about tortured poets. As you probably already listened to, we reacted live on this podcast to the first 16 tracks of Tortured Poets. And we had a very fun time, but it was like 2 a.m. by the time we ended that. And so we're like, okay, we need to go to bed. Let's, tackle the other 15 songs afterwards. So we had a lazy Saturday where we did nothing but just chill, watch the lyric videos, kind of went back to some other of the original videos as well too, and just went through all of the new songs. We pulled up the lyrics on Genius, talked a little bit to different people around the world on Discord about their fathomings. And so we just wanted to take this space and kind of talk through our thoughts, our reactions. I realized today that Mari had not seen the Kelsey documentary. So we watched that today. And then I also showed you a couple 1975 songs that related to these music. So we have a lot to discuss, talk about. We've been talking all day, but we haven't really thought through necessarily this part of our podcast. So this will be really organic, a little bit different some of the other episodes. So I'll be curious of what our listeners feel.
Yeah, I feel like this is more of like therapy after what we just went through.
That's so true.
Because I can you not, y'all. The reason why I'm here with my sister is because we wanted to be with each other for this is our fourth album reaction that we've had.
Mm-hmm.
And I was all like, you know what? I will drive the 5 hours to come see you. We were like, no social media, no nada. And just wanted to react together, right? And our mom was here too. Obviously, she wanted to see me. But after 6 songs, she was like, "Yo, we gotta change it. Like, this is too depressing AF. Like, I don't want to hear this anymore. There's nothing upbeat." And, I was like, "Mom, that's the whole point. You're supposed to be tortured."
Tortured poets.
Yeah. So I think for me, I am thinking about. I think Taylor Swift is somebody who you have to listen to multiple times.
That is true.
I remember when Midnights came out, and I didn't know if I liked the album or not. And
now it's in your top 2.
Yeah, I know. And then
it's wild. Yeah.
And then re-listening to it, paying attention, and then also the stages of life I was in too changed,
right.
Where it became Midnights became one of my top 2, So I think when we talk about tortured poets in this therapy session that I'm calling it, it's not even we're talking about it. I just have a lot of questions that we literally just stopped listening to the manuscript, and I cannot tell you the names of the lyrics of every song. I cannot tell you which one was what, but I can tell you some of my favorites, but the questions that I really have. Hi, cutie. In true Taylor fashion, we have a cat right here.
She's so cute.
Hi, baby girl. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're right, though. We're definitely going to maybe talk about initial reactions, maybe call out some of our favorites on first listen, and then maybe, think about what some lingering questions are. I am assuming in true fashion, we will be listening to other content creators, seeing different reactions, seeing different Swifties talk about things, definitely get all the cool TikTok videos. And, this album will probably be on repeat for both of us for the next couple of months. And I'm excited, maybe in a couple months, circle back. I'm assuming when Taylor finally gives us a Reputation date, we will probably discuss it. May 9th, she comes back on tour, so maybe
something.
Yeah.
A green dress.
Maybe we'll have something a little bit different to discuss and react to. And maybe not. For this album, before listening to it, I was pretty certain that Tortured Poets would be on the Era Tour set. I don't know now, so I'm still thinking about that. But I think they'll be on a lot of different spaces for Taylor to come back, and we can share a little more Fathomings. But this is definitely after first listen, we've listened to a couple on the original 16 a couple of times because we wanted to show our mom a few things. We wanted to listen to something. We definitely re-listened to So High School at the end because we needed a little bit more upbeat moment.
I mean, if you don't know, y'all, like that, the upbeat comment is from How to Lose a Guy from 10 Days. So
Yes.
please watch that movie if you don't understand what we mean by and also upbeat.
It'll definitely be a movie that we'll discuss.
Yeah, 100%. But no, you need that So High School as like the shining North Star. Maybe be like, this is what you're going to. This is the end. And however, so impressed and also not surprised that this girl wrote that song.
Oh my gosh.
Within I saw people on TikTok saying this is Travis's rookie year of getting a song. And I think for me, I have questions of timeline of everything. And I have questions about what was meant for maybe the fans or herself more than about a guy, And then do you remember how I was talking about last night? I don't know if this is necessarily about a guy, but more about a groom that she never had.
Yeah, you really fucked me up by saying, I was talking about how every song had this beautiful melody, and obviously we don't know the lyrics just yet. We were looking at lyrics while listening, but we don't know them just yet. But I knew that each song had a really hauntedly beautiful melody in different space.
Aaron's piano.
Oh my gosh, Aaron just knocked it out of the park again. And you turned to me like, if you just remove the words, each of these songs sound like a bride is walking down the aisle. And I legitimately
should have paused the video.
I had to walk away from you for a minute because my whole brain broke.
Yeah.
Oh man. And then a little bit later, I was, talking about all the different names we have here. We have Peter and Chloe and Sam and Marcus and Cassandra and Robin. And in my head, I was like, are all of these kid names that she and Joe talked about at one point, or maybe her and Maddie, and she just needs to get them out of her system, to put them somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, I know that I think Peter really does go back to what was it, Cordigan?
Yes.
And Peter losing Wendy over there. I think
yeah, the whole part of you said you were gonna grow up and then you were gonna come find me.
Yeah. So I think that does have to go towards Maddie Healy and her and their relationship. Especially since they've known each other for so long.
Oh man. Okay, so let's say maybe top 3 on our listens right now, and then we definitely need to talk about Maddie Healy because whether you know it or not, the majority of this album is him.
I think you should talk more about your theories of the thing, because between you and me, girl, you had a Maddie Healy phase. You had a Maddie Healy phase. You were gonna go see his concert.
Oh my gosh.
And then Taylor and him broke up and you're like, no, never mind.
That was actually not why I didn't go. So, okay, we'll get to that.
Yes.
Because there is a Maddie Healy.
She's a fake fan of Maddie Healy.
I would not say I'm a fake fan. I would definitely say I'm a fan of 1975. They were in my top 5 of my Spotify Wrap last year.
I'm so proud, girl.
I'm not proud at all. But I think that insight. I mean, I knew nothing about the 1975 before Taylor dated them. I actually had to remind or learn that this was one of her favorite bands for years, and she's constantly said that. So, anyways, I think because of that insight, for me, I had And you can hear it from my reaction. I definitely thought that But Daddy, I Loved Him was from The Notebook and not from The Little Mermaid that everybody was talking about. I was so excited about being right on that concept. At the same time, that song was everything that I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
I loved that. I really loved I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I think, obviously track
Yes.
13s are always just amazing. I don't know if I like it yet, but I really did love how just Smallest Man Who Ever Lived just cut so deep. That bridge is just amazing, but at the same time, like, if you're in the 1975 fandom, you know that Maddie has a height inferiority complex. Like, every time someone sees him and everyone's like, "Oh, wow, you're so much taller in person," he'll be like, "Oh, please post that on your TikTok, or please post that on Instagram, because everybody thinks I'm so short." And then I had high hopes for The Black Dog. That one is probably top 2. And then, The Prophecy. The Prophecy, first listen, I was like, this is my favorite song on the album. I love everything about it. It's everything I want in a Taylor Swift song. And then I didn't get Peter at first, but then when we fathomed the Cardigan connection and Peter losing Wendy, which is my favorite line in Cardigan, that one was like, oh, okay, this might end up being in my top 3 on multiple listens. So I'm excited for those. What about you? What were some of your top songs?
Yeah, honestly, I truly loved Fortnite and Post Malone's cameo and duet on that. I thought that was really creative. I thought that even when we watched the music video, how creative, like, it set up exactly what I thought this album was going to be.
Yeah.
It, like I said, like, if you watched Poor Things last year, it gave me Poor Things vibe. Her and Emma Stone are so close. Like, I could see them like collaborating a little bit. I could see Taylor being inspired by her best friend's acting, or one of her close friends acting, to be inspired for like the theme of this album. I really did like to like So Long London. I think the story behind that. I think the reason though why I would say LOML and I Can Do It With a Broken Heart. I think the reason why I love those two is because our personal connection between those two songs, because we were in Chicago night 2 of her tour, where she sang
I Don't Want to Live Forever.
Yeah, I Don't Want to Live Forever. And we were there the moment she said, "Or lost the love of my life."
And just
You can just see how broken she was.
Well, we didn't really totally see it until maybe TikTok later.
Yeah,
but you could
feel it.
Feel it. There was just, was not a,
especially a love song. This is a love song.
Well, that's debatable, but
like,
it was definitely a moment. And I remember one of the theories was that that song was inspired by Maddie way back when. And so I think that was just interesting. It was also interesting that she sang it again in the Secret Song session leading up to this album again, which I think is fascinating. I'm trying to remember what she mashed it with. Maybe I'll look it up because I don't totally remember. It was something like Dress or something, or Exile. It was something absolutely like iconic, and I'll definitely look it up.
I think that with the 13, that I Can Do With a Broken Heart, I think they just go together because it reminds me of that night of like, she can do the tour with a broken heart. She can do so much with a broken heart. Even when like she has to act like it's her birthday on the freaking stage, like she has to act so excited. Yeah, so I think that's those are like, again, 2 of my favorites. I really liked oh my gosh, I Needed So High School. Again, it was like the North Star. It was like
you did. You like that was an instant love for you.
I also told you it gave me like Fearless vibes, but adult version.
Yeah, that was cute.
Like it truly did, and I love that because like you see her, and she doesn't really change from like the character who she created in Fearless You Belong With Me. She's still that like poet or like, you know, band music nerd, like philosophical person with like a popular dude.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I do enjoy I enjoyed the story behind that. And then I think I loved this song more because of Mom's comment. But the Thank You Amy, and Mom calls it the Fuck You Kim song. And we were like, Mom, it's Thank You Amy. She's like, same thing. But I think like that song also teaches you, you know, the whole like forgive and forget.
Yeah.
And I think it's like for someone who has bullied and antagonized and created a sense of like not just insecurity, but like almost to the point of like harassment and I'm trying to say like unsafety, you know. I think like that song also teaches you you can move on from something, but that doesn't mean that like you need to forgive. That doesn't mean that you need to forget what happened. You can have those boundaries. You can have, you know, just because someone says, oh my gosh, like I want to like be friends with her, or
it's water under the bridge.
Yeah. And be like, no, it's not water underneath the bridge. Like, you traumatized me.
Yeah.
That's like saying like the bully in high school, like she was saying, like a bully in high school would become her best friend, and that's not how life works.
It's not,
and not that you should.
Not without at least, hey, how do I heal this?
Yeah. How do I restore this?
How do I restore it? Definitely.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's definitely interesting. So we haven't really watched anything or read anything yet, but we are on Genius, and so you can see how many, I think they call them looks on Genius that all the songs have gotten, and I believe Thank You Amy is the number one. I'm assuming because of the T. I'm assuming, you know, I'm assuming if I Google it, it's probably like the number one story right now. For me, I kept saying that in this last year when she was dating Maddie Healy and we knew about it, the public just turned on them. It was definitely a lot of hatred towards her, a lot of hatred towards him, you know, digging up everything in the Blue Moon. And I was curious if that reopened the last time the media turned on her, the last time that she almost, you know, not almost, she was canceled and she left. And I think, you know, so I'm an OG Swiftie. I've been around since Teardrops on My Guitar music video. And, you know, Bot debut the next day. And, you know, going from the height of 1989 to her just leaving, was really hard as a fan. And I think, you know, Reputation will always be in my top two because she came back and she went through, you know, in the words of Andrea Swift, like all that shit that they threw at her, you know, and came back, you know, just stronger and harder and all that stuff. And I've really wondered if this just gave time for that wound to almost like open again, which is really sad to think about if that's ended up being the case because, you know, I still don't totally know if the narrative here is saying, I mean, okay, we do know it basically is saying that he left, that Maddie left. And that was my number one question going into this album is what's the timeline? And Taylor, did you leave because fans hated him and you didn't want to be canceled again? Or Maddie, did you leave because the hate got so bad? And I think it's a little bit of both. If you don't know, the the 1975 and Maddie Healy are currently working on their next album. They've already been in the recording studio a lot, and they have a habit of releasing singles well before their album. So I'm kind of expecting a 1975 single in the upcoming weeks. I don't know why you
like
wouldn't
to respond.
Well, that, but also, like, a lot of fans of Taylor are probably going back to his lyrics, realizing how many connections there are. I can definitely do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah.
And this is like the best time as a business person
Yeah.
to drop music. I mean, if you were to drop music next Friday, it would be the most listened to album of his career because, he is able to be, in this thing. And at the end of the day, like, this album doesn't necessarily paint him in a bad light.
Yeah, sure.
Like, I was expecting a little bit more, to be honest, but it really is I turned your life into folklore. I made it all about you. I decided to take the leap and jump and walk away from the relationship I was in that was not doing anything for me. And this, like, fantasy and this romance novel that I put in my head, like, the reality just didn't measure up at all.
Yeah.
I wondered if something, like, bad happened. But it just more seems like there were so many hopes that she had for this relationship, and it didn't. And I this album is so good. But it's gonna take a lot to process and to think about it, because at least on first listen, none of these songs I think breach my top 50 of Taylor Swift's music. Not because these songs aren't amazing. She's just, like, the greatest songwriter of all time. Like, she has a lot of
different.
It's also really different, and I need to, like, get in that space, and it's hard. I think our mom said it best, that it's hard listening to someone that you love and that you respect and that you care for and that you just want to be happy,
and then isn't.
Well, but singing these really sad songs, it's really, I can listen to something like Last Kiss because she felt that way so long ago, and then we have a re-record of her reclaiming that, and it's a beautiful memory now. This is raw.
And fresh.
It's raw, it's fresh. I think a lot of the fandom is finally,
well, we were
understanding.
I think we were also saying too, like, in the past 2 years, at least 2 years, she couldn't drink. She couldn't, like, and we know how much, like, girlie likes to drink with her man, but like, she couldn't drink, and I think, like,
and we don't know totally how long it was, but
yeah,
it was at least 6 or 8 months because she was getting ready for the Eras tour.
And I always said, like, Midnights is, you think it is, in our best words, like, upbeat, but it's, like, depressed. Like, it's like, you're depressed and you're on antidepressants and you're on your floaties and you're fine with it.
Yeah.
And then you have Tortured Poets, which is, like, a raw, like, depressed or sad or, like needing closure, like, feeling like you are suffocating without a sense of, like, because you are reminiscing too much or because it is hurting too much, and that need for closures is so big. And so the idea too of she too is like a tortured poet. Like, she is also in that category of, she's a songwriter, she also is, writing sad songs, and without even just, Folklore and Evermore, like, creating, like, a story and a world, but this is, like, creating an anthology that it's so her life, so I don't know. I think my questions are, what are going to be my top songs after I listen to it a couple of times? What are the songs that I think are going to go like viral. I'm pretty sure some already are, but we really haven't been on social media just yet.
Yeah, I actually have no idea what people.
Yeah.
I do know the one thing I did see is Taylor Swift. I knew she was gonna break Spotify records.
Yeah.
The one thing I did see is I believe in the first 24 hours, her whole discography got 380 million Spotify listens, and like the artist beneath her in that list barely has gotten 200 million across the discography. So I mean, she's definitely 100% queen. She's in a league of her own. She really, when it comes to number of listens, she I believe like almost every record that Spotify has, she has like the top 5, top 6. Yeah. And I think this album's going to be the same. I am very curious with the double album. So, I mean, I think you said it best. It was like a part-time job this weekend listening to these songs. And not that they were bad, but it was 31 songs. And most songs were like over 4 minutes. Like that's a lot of time. And for us, like obviously if you're just listening to it, it's like 2 hours. It's gonna be a great road trip album.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, when you listen to it. But when you're wanting to watch the lyric videos, watch or read all the the lyrics, us talk about it, go back to another song to be like, wait, is she referencing this song? We have to re-listen to it. I mean, this being a wedding march, like I was like, wait, I need to re-listen to this whole album again. So it's definitely interesting. I don't know what would people like biggest. I mean, I thought Prophecy was like the coolest one to listen to at first listen, so I'm assuming that's pretty up there, but
I don't know. I also think like when I listen to it again, will I hear the difference between part 1 and part 2 better? Like why was she so insistent on the first 16 and then the 17 through 31? Like I think that is intentional. And what was the intentionality behind that? I also think I think if you have been following Taylor Swift for a while and you are a Swiftie, I mean, I at least knew this would be going to be a different album. I didn't think this was going to be like, something that's in the Lover House. I thought that this was going to be not even in the same house or housing complex.
You know what I thought? So, have you seen the theory that the house that's burned down on during the tour? No, well, yes, but like the tour graphics during Bad Blood and the house is burning down. If you compare that to the outline of the Lover House, it's 2 different outlines. It's actually not the same house. Like the middle in the Lover House are like more narrow, whereas in the house being burned down, they're really wide. And there's a lot of theories on it, but one, I think everybody's like, okay, well, the light that is the match of Midnight's probably is what started it. And if you have not read the prologue of Midnight's, please go back to read it. That was one of the reasons why I was pretty confident that her and Maddie Healy had been together longer than what we knew as the public, is because of the Midnight's prologue and how she talked about how one thought sparked kind of a change in her life. And I also find it very interesting when you're thinking through these re-records, the lyric change on Better Than Revenge, where, oh goodness, what is it? He was a moth to the flame and you were holding the matches.
Yeah.
I think that is a very interesting lyric when you think about the Midnight's cover art and whatnot.
Sure.
But it's, oh man, it's a lot. And I do think, so I showed you About Me, or About You, sorry, by 1975, that if you didn't know,
Oh yeah.
this song was on Taylor's pre-show set list from the very beginning of her tour. And it was changed, I think, like 2 weeks after we knew that they broke up from the media. And it played. So if you went to the tour, there was like this pre-show graphics. It was like behind the scenes. It was bloopers. It was whatnot. And during the music video, or the behind the scenes video of Lover, you couldn't really hear the Lover audio, but you heard About You playing throughout. And I think that is very intentional. And at the 1975 tour, Question was on Maddie's pre-show set list as well, on the playlist that they would play. And that had been there from like the beginning of his tour, which started like in November.
Passively just communicate with each other. Like,
but that they've been like, doing that for the whole time.
I feel like that reminds me of, like, everyone could relate to when you like a guy or somebody, when you like somebody and you're on social media, you will most definitely post something on your story and be like, oh, alone tonight, just for the hopes that this person sees it and responds with something else on their story, or like slides up on their DMs. Like, it's something that I don't know if they knew intentionally that they were doing it, but like that communication of like, hey, I notice you. Can you notice me?
Oh, when you go back through the discography and the music videos, so like one of them, Taylor, her in Reputation, when she did her Delicate music video, and she's wearing this, blue dress, she's dancing in the rain, she's like dancing awkwardly because she's, it's the point of the song. In this latest album that he just dropped, Being Funny in a Foreign Language, there is a song called Oh Caroline, and he's dancing, and if you put those two dances side by side, they're essentially dancing together. And it's stuff like that where, people who've been Swifties and 1975 fans have been talking about for like the last year, that there's not just lyrics from like Evermore and Folklore and Midnights, but also like music videos. There's a lot. I mean, even to the point where if you're like a true clown of Taylor Swift, you know that there is this crazy interview that took place 3 years ago, almost to the day. She was on the Stephen Colbert show, and she had this crazy mood board, and everybody clowned it for years, and we still clown it because we're like, what is this? And they're talking about Hey Stephen, and he's like, who is Hey Stephen about? And she's laughing and whatnot. Hey Stephen is Maddie's favorite song. And so during the week of Midnights, he actually posted Hey Stephen to his story and was like, I just love the song. Everybody go stream Midnights. And for me, when I'm thinking of this mastermind, this person who has said that she's going to start putting out Easter eggs 3 years in advance, I can't help but think of a song like Mastermind and just think she thought she was able to mastermind a relationship with Maddie and that the public would love it.
Yeah.
I mean, there's this great piece that came out on the New Yorker that was this, in-depth interview with him, and it started, the interviewer person started the night that she was there at his tour back in January, but this post didn't launch until May when they were dating. Like, that just feels intentional to me, So I don't think we got more clarity on the timeline. I just think the fandom has fully understood that this was not like a 3-week rebound fuck. This was a long time coming.
Yeah.
Which is, oh man.
I think too, like, I think you and I come to the music very differently sometimes.
Right.
Like, we said this before, are very into like why is she writing this and who and what, like really investigating and being like a journalist about the music, as well as like really digging deep on not just the journalist, but like what is the artist, what is she thinking and doing and feeling in this moment.
Right.
And I think for me, I come from a idea of like, yes, how is she thinking, but what emotions is she portraying that I as an audience can pick up
and relate to.
Yeah. And like thinking about this album, I can relate to it in so many different ways. I think other people similarly can, you know, when you go through heartbreak and trial and hurt, when you are going through like just a raw depressed anger or um like I don't know, like a very strong hurt, you know. I don't want to just use depression like just very easily out there, but I definitely think this album, she used her emotion and creativity and artistic mind to create the story of heartbreak and loss and grief. And then also, like, you can still be happy or be moving on and still, like, trying to heal. Like, that's why I think So High School and The Alchemy are in the middle of the album instead of at the end, because you could still be falling in love with somebody new while also healing from a previous relationship. You know, like so like grief and hurt come in waves when it comes to like losing a relationship and losing your best friend, losing somebody. I do think though in this, knowing that being said, knowing what is like who she is talking about kind of gives you way more of a depth of the song, you know. And like how you and I thought whenever she says husband, is she talking about Joe or is she talking about Maddie? And then the song kind of just changes depending who it's about, you know.
And is it really more, I don't remember what song it was. It might have been the manuscript where it just kind of talked through, writing them. I think this is the idea of, if you think about mastermind, the mastermind wrote the manuscript, and, she's reading it. And if you haven't seen the lyric video of it, definitely go and watch it because it was really cool. And it just felt that the manuscript was saying, sure, Maddie, sure, Joe, but kind of all of these relationships, all of these pains that have taught her to write what you know. Her ex is now a layered person of multiple people, of multiple times of feeling alone, feeling angry, feeling sad, feeling depressed, and rejected or hurt or betrayed. And all those emotions have now, it's kind of like grief, where every time someone dies, you feel all of the death that you've experienced all over again because it's, um, like an exponential thing. And I think that's where it is. And I also, unlike Midnights, feel a lot more hopeful. Yeah, going out of it, I think, leaving on Dear Reader, and even then Hits Different, and especially You're Losing Me, it just felt that we're stuck. And it wasn't like we didn't have closure. It was, wait, like, where's the hope in this? Where's the looking ahead of this? Where's the, what happens next type of thing? And this feels, I think she actually said it in her epilogue poem, where this chapter is now closed. And I don't feel like she's manifesting that or just trying to claim it I think
It's true.
it feels closed. It feels like she's ready for that next step. Um,
I hear that.
I'm excited, especially if it ends up being Travis, because I think we like the Kelsey brothers a lot for her.
I think not even just like taking it a step aside from Travis and her love life. I'm like thinking about she has about 2 years worth of songs all about eras, all about touring,
And that's
all
true, yeah.
about her. Like, think of Long Live, but the extended version, that
What
can
everybody
be,
thought with a broken heart was going to be,
yeah.
yeah.
And I think like that is opportunity. And yes, of course, like I love that she writes about love. I love that she writes about what she knows. I love that she's going to write about Travis because I definitely want to hear those songs, you know? But also, like, she was in a relationship for so long that she didn't need to be in. Maybe like she felt trapped in, that she is now like living the life that she deserves as an artist. And
Yeah.
like, I mean, I don't know about others, and I will say like you definitely know way more about Taylor Swift as a person than I do, but just like the vibe of Eras really felt like a started off as the idea of a goodbye tour, you know, um, and the idea that she was saying goodbye to her music or saying
Yeah.
goodbye to being like touring, and it became like her revival. It became like a whole other level of like these were my eras of the past 17 years. I might be going something different now. And that could also be like she's writing more about what she knows. And like when you grow up and when you're growing up, you know more things, So I'm excited to see like all of her new world experiences, all of the things that she has done. What are things like even where but Daddy, I love him. I think she's complaining to her about her fans in half of that.
Yeah.
Like she has so much more that she can talk about in many ways. And she probably has the freedom to do that too, because she's Taylor fucking Swift.
Yeah.
So I hope she can use this freedom, this liberty of like this chapter being closed, where she feels empowered to write more of what she knows, of being unfiltered and using her creative energy to really like flow through her and get into her weird self, get into her, you know, um, maybe an alter ego, etc. That is just like a new shining star in this next generation of her music.
100%. I mean, we definitely know that she's going to continue being her director. I'm super excited that this last song is going to be the manuscript.
Mm-hmm.
That just beautifully leads into, I'm assuming, new music videos that she'll have directed.
Mm-hmm.
Once this tour is over, she's going to go back to her feature film
Mm-hmm.
that she wrote and was accepted and going to direct that. Like, I'm excited for the world building. I'm excited for this next steps. It's I mean, it's Taylor Swift. It's gonna be great, and I think we just thank her. I mean, she's she's like a year and a half older than I am, and it's one of those things where she experiences life, and then when that album comes out and I'm able to listen to it, I am able to make sense of my life, which I think this is the first album that has come out that I don't totally get that sense with, right? Because I have not experienced something totally like this, but once I totally, once I know these lyrics and I am able to fathom, I'm then able to relate it to my story and make it my own the way that she wants us to. So I'm excited for that process. I'm excited, when we're angry at somebody, we are not just listening to Bad Blood and whatnot. Now we have Thank You, Amy. When we are, mourning maybe a book character or mourning a moment, we have a lot of really great music. We also have just good vibes. I listen to a lot of instrumental Taylor Swift music from different amazing artists, and I this music was beautiful. I'm so impressed with Aaron's. What?
I said, yeah, like wedding beautiful.
I mean, it's just so beautiful. I literally cannot wait to have this in the background for just vibes. I wish I was in high school when I was in that like whole sad song era, and that's all I listened to.
This would depress me the more.
I would.
This would not have been done well for my mental health in high school.
Probably not, but this is the album that I would have loved to
If you're a high schooler and you are listening to this, wow, you are a real one, because
you have an old soul.
You have, not just that, but like, you're going through it, girl.
That's okay. That's okay.
It gets better, I promise.
It really does. It really does.
I think that it is something that is super, it's new. It is thought-provoking in many ways. And whether you like it or not, I think it's something to really like ponder about. And so if you are a new Swiftie, or if you're a Swiftie who has been there from the beginning, if you're someone who just listens to her music, I definitely would say, like, I think you have to give this a second listen to, at least, to really like get to know the songs and get to know more about the album, without comparing it to previous albums as well. So I'm excited for my second listen to and see what more clarity, and then in future weeks I hope we can circle back and say, like, what were our favorite lyrics, or what are our favorite songs, or are like more settled feelings about this album.
Yeah, I think we'll continue to listen. We're gonna assume Taylor will drop another music video and or do something for tour in May, so we'll circle back. And until then, we'll obviously connect, but then maybe we'll talk about a couple of movies that we love that are pretty central to us being sisters, as well as
Is this one of our Patreon episodes?
I don't know. It is not.
Oh, it's not. Oh, I thought it was.
No.
Okay, you guys get to listen for free. Thank you for supporting us in this journey.
I was actually wondering if our reaction would be the Patreon episode.
Oh, the live one?
Yeah.
And this be like...
Because this sounds like an episode. The other one doesn't.
What do you guys think? Does this sound like an episode?
I hope it sounds like an episode, y'all. Please let us know.
Last night we were just definitely tired, and I was like, we need to get through this freaking thing. Like,
it was 24 hours ago. It is 1:30 a.m. right now. We usually go to bed. We're not.
When we're together, we go to bed after midnight.
Oh, I love that. But it's true though, because I'm always in bed by like 10:30, if not earlier.
With your man.
And when you're here, we consistently go to bed after midnight. So,
because our time is limited.
But I've enjoyed this. We started this journey a little started this journey 13 hours ago. Come on, Tay Voodoo for the win, y'all.
You're so...
It was. I can't even lie. This was literally 13 hours ago that we hit play on the first song.
You're hilarious.
I love that. Anyways, we hope you enjoyed this. This is one of the things that connects us as sisters is Taylor Swift. We love her music. We
do
definitely
Swifties in different ways.
We are. One of my favorite things that you do is that you'll tell me, hey, I'm one all too well away from you. I'll be there soon.
10-minute version.
10, obviously.
The real ones.
And it's fun. I also know that we have a lot more to explore of Taylor with each other. We have a lot more other stuff. The way that I am with Taylor is how she is with Ed Sheeran, so that will be a fun episode where we can talk about.
In some ways, yeah. I feel like you I'm obsessed with the music itself, and you can be obsessed with the person. Now, at the concert with
Yeah,
Ed
I was about to
Sheeran,
say, like, at the
that
concert.
that was a different me. Like, that was a different experience. I was
Stay tuned for more of
Yeah.
that story. My sister at that concert was pretty adorable.
in front of our own mother. My mom saw a side of me that she didn't really like. She knew existed, but she was like, "Oh, okay, girl, you get your man."
No.
If you ever listen to Ed Sheeran's music or him in live, you just know, like, yeah, he might not be like the most handsome man on the block, but man, that kid can sing, and that is attractive AF. So I will just say that this is our podcast, Calling After Midnight, where we discussed Taylor Swift's album of the Tortured Poets Department, the anthology, and we literally did this after midnight. What a beautiful Saturday it was.
A beautiful Saturday it was. We hope you enjoyed this episode. Please give us
Grace.
Grace, as we're continuing this podcast journey. We'd love for you to give us a review. Let us know if you want to
If you're gonna give us a review, please be nice. Like, you know what? Be
So-
compassionate.
throw us a bone, y'all.
We're trying.
Maybe 5-star reviews, and then you can put out like feedback in the comments.
Yeah, 100%. Let us know what your thoughts. Let us know what you think about the album. Let us know if you liked it, disliked it. General thoughts. What were your top 5 songs? And
I would love to know that.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And how did your first run through be different than like your second or third run through of the album? So thank you for learning and loving and growing with us.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.